Okay, hi everyone. I'm back, and as we said before, this is kind of really the start of we're going to get all these big pop films. It's the kind of the unofficial start of the American summer. So in between, like my last review was Picnic at Hanging Rock from 1975. Today I'm talking about Deadpool 2. So we're going to do the usual thing. I'm going to go through should you see it or not, very quick. Then I'll come back and we'll talk about the film and then spoilers. So, Deadpool 2, again, it's one of these things with these popcorn films. Did you see Deadpool 1? Well, if you saw Deadpool 1, then depending on your attitude to that, you'll be in the audience for Deadpool 2. The other thing I'll also talk about is post-credit scenes, how many there are, because I know some people really want to know whether they have to stay or not. So, Deadpool 2, everyone is back except for Tim Miller, who directed Deadpool 1. And I'm going to have to say, we do the usual thing. Should you go see it in the cinema? Should you wait for DVD or cable, or not see it at all? Well, if you didn't see Deadpool 1, I'd say probably don't see it at all. Now, I saw Deadpool 1 and I loved it. I thought it was one of the most innovative, fun films I'd seen in quite a long time. And I was really disappointed by Deadpool 2. I thought it was very lazy. And the big thing, I think, is with Tim Miller moving on, and we're going to talk about that in a second, they've lost whatever the magic was. So, to me, you could probably wait for DVD or cable or something. And it's got two post-credit scenes or mid-credit scenes, and if you're in the film, you should stay for those. Okay, I'll be back in a second and we'll talk about Deadpool 2. Okay, so Deadpool 2, as I said in the intro, the big difference is instead of Tim Miller directing, you have David Leitch directing. And if you know that name, he's really well known in acting circles. He was uncredited director on John Wick, and then he came out with Atomic Blonde, which I really liked and has one of the best action sequences I'd seen in quite a while. So it's not like I don't like his work, but this is the interesting thing with this film. Famously, Ryan Reynolds, Tim Miller, the same writers, all got together and said, well, what are we going to do for Deadpool 2? And Tim Miller said, I want to keep going where that it's a more stylized film and kind of a cohesive view of Deadpool and probably, well, we're not sure because he left, but, you know, looking at the way that they were breaking the fourth wall and, you know, just pushing the envelope. Ryan Reynolds said no. The reason why people are seeing it is this is an R-rated look at superheroes, so we've got to double down on the comedy and especially making it very raunchy. Tim Miller goes, no, that's not going to work. I'm going to leave. They bring in David Leitch. Now, what has happened in this film is, well, yeah, they double down. They triple down. It's more jokes per second than normally, like even on a sitcom, more than like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The problem is, there's basically no plot at all. Whereas at least in Deadpool 1, you had something to work with and there was an arc. There's no arcs here at all. No one changes, really. I mean, you could maybe say Deadpool changes a bit, but yeah. No plot, no development. There's really no reason for this film whatsoever apart from the jokes. So this is the thing. If the jokes are working, fine. The action I even found not that great, considering that it's not bad. But the first one was just amazing with some of the slow-mo. This does not work at all. Then you got to go to the cast. So Ryan Reynolds is really good as usual. Now in the first film, TJ Miller was really, really good as Weasel. In between, with the Me Too movement, TJ Miller's been called out. His role is very small, and it's been said that he's out from the future films. So that dynamic between them two is gone. In the first 4 minutes or something, something happens that means that Marina Baccarin, who plays his girlfriend slash wife. She's kind of sidelined for most of the film. And so then you've just got he puts together this new crew of people, and Josh Brolin, I guess, is the big one. He comes in as Cable, which has been well advertised, and, they've been talking about it for a while. Well, Josh Brolin, who did incredible work in Avengers, Infinity War, bringing to life and giving some pathos to Thanos, who's a CGI guy, comes in as a real human and is boring as. Really disappointing. They also have, I'll just check his name, Julian Dennison. Now, Julian Dennison is a great New Zealand kid, and everyone knows him from Hunt for the Wilder People. He's got great comic timing, and he's good. He's wasted as well. The only person who I thought does really, really well is Sazy Beats. I hope I'm saying that properly. Now, I knew her from her great work in Atlanta, and she plays Domino, who's got the ability to kind of control luck, and which is not something you kind of think of. And she's really, really good, and is the only kind of interesting thing in the whole film. So you got no plot, no character development, a million jokes, but really they're like a million jokes that 14-year-olds kind of make, and a lot of fourth wall stuff, and some of it, there was a lot of stuff where I smiled, but just didn't work at all. It was really like how they had run out of steam, and they just went, we'll just push forth all this stuff. So Deadpool 1, if you had a bowl full of, your favorite kind of rich takeaway food, and you really enjoy it, and you go, wow, that is all fat and sugar and, good stuff. But as we all know, if someone then goes, hey, here's another second bowl, by the time you had a couple of scoops, you go, oh, that's too much. That's Deadpool 2. Okay, so, I've got a spoiler section, but there really are no spoilers. The film hasn't got anything to spoil because it's got nothing to say. This is just a bad film. There's zero suspense. The CGI is even bad, which is nowadays, you kind of got to work hard to make the CGI bad. I've put it in the spoiler section, but the best scene in the whole film is, and I had to really think about to find one, which is when X-Force launches from a plane, and they're going to do their big mission, and they all die horribly because, of course, they're all idiots and stuff. But in that scene, the Vanisher is this invisible guy, and you're not even sure if he's there or if it's just some sort of stupid thing, and he gets electrocuted, and for a second you see his face, and it's Brad Pitt, which, okay, we get, that's a fun joke that he's a good-looking guy and everything, but the CGI is so bad in that particular scene that you really go, oh God, it would have been better if I didn't see anything. And some of the CGI, especially for Colossus, and some of the fighting, it's just not good at all, which I'm not even sure how that happened. The best joke in the whole film is in the second post-credit scene. So I had to put it in into spoilers because I didn't want to ruin it for everyone. It's a great Green Lantern joke, so I'm assuming if you're watching this, you've already seen it. Look, this is just a really bad film. I had to dredge to get a good scene. Ryan Reynolds is really good at a role he's already good at. He's got great comic timing, a lot of charisma, but this is just a bad film. Yeah, don't see it, or see it later on, something like that. That's it for today, and I'm going to hopefully be back I'm going to try and do some old films because I think I'm finding them a lot more interesting in between these big popcorn films. And the biggest popcorn film for the next, actually there's tons of popcorn films coming, but Han Solo will be next. Okay, I'll talk to you then. Bye.